Hey guys, so I'm going to pretty much be going over the entire live stream that we just had for the 6-year anniversary on JP Dokkan. And then there's a few things I want to talk about regarding the actual units themselves, some things I want to clarify, as well as we'll compare Vegeta to Goku, because I've seen a lot of people saying who's better, and stuff like that. And then in a separate video I'm going to be doing after this, we will go ahead and take a look at the actual banners that are out, because they are actually live right now. They went live during the live stream like they did in the 5th-year anniversary live stream. We'll take a look at the banners, and I will pretty much break down which banner I think is better. Although at the end of the day, you know, it's both banners are like insanely valuable, so it doesn't really matter which one you really summon on. But it's okay. We're sort of like going to skim through the live stream here. Not really too much new information. I mean, that they showed off like the PVs of the Goku and Vegeta unit, and then they sort of went through a lot of the info that we already knew about. Like they talked about the Master Roshi event. They talked about the theme of the anniversary was like, Universe 7's bonds with each other. There was a quiz here, so we are going to be getting 66 Dragon Stones. I think they said tomorrow JP time, or tomorrow Japan time is when we're going to be getting that. So, anytime within the next 12 hours or so, I would say is a good time frame as to when we're going to get those 66 stones. But this is a wallpaper we're going to be getting. I don't know if it actually was given out already or not, but that's a part of the celebration. Let's just keep going. Here is obviously the unit art. They had interviews with Nozawa and Horikawa, which, obviously the Goku voice actor, as well as Vegeta. And they posed questions to them such as like, what was your experience with recording the voices for the Universe Survival Saga, and like what were some impactful moments that you remember, and stuff like that. And we can go through like, messages to fans and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a little cool thing that they did. They talked about specifically for him, well, for both the characters, for Goku, was like what was it like recording the UI Goku voice, because it's so different and it's so stern, and like the atmosphere when you're recording a voice like that is different than how Goku normally is. So like how was that? How was your experience with that? And then the same thing for Horikawa as well. They asked like for Evolution Blue Vegeta, even though Evolution Blue Vegeta is not really much of a different character personality wise as UI is, he still talked about like how like him growing up, not growing up, but him aging as a voice actor along with Vegeta, actually the character in the series, sort of like was a good parallel, and they sort of went side by side that way. And then we sort of went into what else? Let me just forward it this way because it's faster. They had the listings of the voice actors that we heard on Twitter, the countdown sort of thing for the celebration, so they had all of them on there. Then they have this like signed poster which they were giving away, sort of like part of like a campaign. Then they looked back throughout the history of the game, starting with 2015, and they sort of marked the different milestones that they've had. So first Dokkan Fest, first LR, first Legendary Summon banner. This is the first EZA unit. First Dokkan Fest LRs for the 3-year. First active skills, first unit super attack, and then first revival skills now. Interesting that they didn't talk about first exchange mechanic. I guess they don't really consider that to be a major mechanic, which is understandable because they haven't brought it back almost ever. And then they had the quiz, asking questions to people, and people were replying in the chat. They were actually looking at the live chat to see what people were responding with. And this right here are the 3 top used characters ever in the game. So this goes back to the start of the game and tracks, I believe they have statistics like going back through the game's inception up until now. So they're all Gogetas. Like not only are they all Gogetas, they're all Super Gogeta from Fusion Reborn. So the top most used unit ever is STR Gogeta, which is not surprising. Then we have the 3rd-year one, and then we have the Int Gogeta. So the 3 most used units ever. And then there was another one, which was the 3 most used units in 2020. Which number 1, the 3rd-year Vegito, then 3rd-year Gogeta, and then Gohan. And the producer was talking about how he thinks the only reason why these guys are so high on the list still, almost 3 years after they came out, was because of the fact that they're both on the Kamehameha category for Gohan, and like that's the most round category by far. So interesting. That's what they talked about there. Talked about this event, which is the team cooperative mission thing. What else? And they talked about the God of Destruction event, just talked about how hard it was, and I'm sure at this point you guys have tried it out. It's very, very hard. And then they talked about the Zeno support item. What else? It's not support item, support memory. Then they talked about support memories in general, sort of like going over what we already know about that. Then, what else? Talked about the Master Roshi thing. They did show this graphic, which is in the game too, but it confirms that, you know, there's going to be a Master Roshi full power LR. So that's coming. We already knew that though. And then, you know, this campaign thing where you can get, you know, goods. Here's figures. This is the figure that I believe wasn't even revealed up until this point. This is basically the figure that gave away the fact that UI Goku was going to be the main anniversary unit. So here he is. And then Evolution Blue Vegeta, obviously, to pair up alongside him. And moving along, then they sort of went into the different animations and kit breakdowns of the units. I'm not going to go too in depth for that because we have already seen that. I did my video on that already as well. But sort of forwarding through this, let's just see. They did... there was a lot. Yeah, this guy. Remember this guy from the 5... This is the meme guy where he did a summon, a multi-summon, in the 5-year anniversary stream, and he just pulled nothing. He pulled like grade 8 like Shugesh or something. And they replayed his performance from the 5th-year stream because obviously it's relevant to UI Goku, its Ultimate Battle, right? And then they had a new guest on. There were these 3 singers that I think did one of the ending songs for Super, you know, to line up alongside with UI Goku, and that's what they have playing in the background, similar to what they had last year. And then they did the same thing. They had them summon at the end, 2 of them summoned, and they showed the banner arts, and they said the banners were live because, you know, that's the same thing they did last year. I guess people responded on the survey that they liked that. The first girl actually pulled LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then the second one pulled STR Vegito, so it was actually pretty good. But that's pretty much it. That's all we saw from the actual live stream itself. So nothing really that new in terms of, you know, breaking information. But I just want to show you guys, if you go into the wiki, they actually have the information on these new units here. So Goku and Vegeta. The one thing I do want to quickly talk about is I'm not 100% sure because obviously I haven't personally tested this, and the wording is a little vague. But this one sort of part of the passive where it talks about UI dodging. So this right here, I'm actually going to walk you guys through what this means, like literal translations word for word. So this is every time you dodge, you get 1 key up to 5. And then generally what they do on the Japanese version, I've been doing this for 4 years, so I know how they like to do this. Every time you see an and sign, that separates 2 phrases. So an and sign is basically what a semicolon is for us on global. If you go to global, I'll pull up Whis on global. Let me see if this actually works. Yeah, here we go. So every time they want to separate a phrase, actually I don't even know if Whis has one. Oh, they do right here. Every time they want to separate a phrase, see how there's a little semicolon right here? That is global's version of what the and sign is for JP, because it sort of separates 2 different, like, I guess, parts of the passive. So this and sign over here for UI Goku separates this. Every time there's an and sign, it's sort of like the ending of that phrase. Separates this part from this part. Okay? So again, this is every time you dodge, you get a key plus 1 up to 5. That's what that says. Then there's an and sign, so separate. Then it says over here, in the turn that you dodge an attack, you get an additional 30% defense. So the fact that there's an and sign here tells me that this is not every single time you dodge. This is, you know, just activates once. Because it says in a turn that you dodge, you get 30% defense. It's not connected to this up here, which does say every time you dodge, because that's related to the key you get when you dodge. Take a look at Whis' passive, because this is the same sort of ability that Whis has. He says, every time you dodge, that turn you get 50% defense. So the wording is slightly different. This word tabi right here, that means every time. So every time you dodge is what it says here. That is what it says here. But since there's an and sign here, I assume it does not stack. That was the big question that we had. So for Goku specifically, I think because the wiki right now has it, plus an additional defense plus 30% with each attack evaded. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that's right. I think that might be a mistake, which is understandable because we haven't had that much time to test these units yet. And it's really hard to test defense because, you know, you don't get the luxury of seeing the defense go up or down like you do with attack stats. So I think it's going to be a little bit before we can actually test this, because, you know, once this guy dodges one attack, he's already at like 300k defense. So even if this doesn't work like Whis, where it stacks, you know, infinitely, as long as you dodge one attack and you get this 30% extra defense, this guy's like untouchable anyway. So it doesn't really matter that much. I'm just sort of clarifying why I said what I said. And then looking at Goku versus Vegeta directly, I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, you know, preliminarily, that this guy is fairly better than Vegeta. That's not to say Vegeta's bad, so please don't think I'm saying Vegeta is a bad unit. He is a top 3 unit, 4 unit in the game, or at the very least, if not just straight up number 2, right? The only thing I will say is that Vegeta's defense, while it is very good, it's not anywhere close to Goku, and I believe Goku hits about just as hard, if not harder, than Vegeta. I believe he actually does hit harder than Vegeta, and defensively Goku is better. Like, it's just, that's the way it is. The one thing I will say about Vegeta, though, is Vegeta's active skill, the Final Explosion. This can be a game changer for a lot of people in Extreme Super Battle Road, because, yeah, you have to wait till the fourth turn to be able to use this, and your HP has to be above 50%. But, you know, if you're somebody who doesn't have like every unit rainbowed, you're going to get there often, because those enemies in Extreme Category Super Battle Road have a lot of health. So if you can get this off, like, this guy's like one of the best like Super Battle Road units in the game because of that. I believe, yeah, this is the first AoE active skill, I think, unless I'm forgetting something. So, well, AoE damaging active skill, not like Jiren where he stuns everybody. But yeah, this is like crazy. And the one other thing I want to talk about real quick before we wrap up this video is the fact that they specifically, and this is this is obviously intentional, it has to be intentional, they specifically made the restriction HP above 50%. Because if you're below 50% health, that's when you get the revival skill active. So once you've gotten the other conditions fulfilled, like, you know, this guy receives 3 attacks and the Vegeta receives 7 attacks, you're either going to be activating the active skill or the revival skill, because you're either going to be above 50% health or below 50% health, and that's the same for both of these units. So that's why they designed it like that, I believe. But just wanted to clarify that one thing with the UI Goku's passive. Again, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't tested it myself, and it's going to be difficult to test that because of the defense and the way that that works in the game. But just to, you know, take what you will from that. That's pretty much everything we saw from the live stream. And I'm going to go ahead and do my banner comparison video now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.